This is the practice test 6. I figured this would probably be more beneficial over the test review simply because I can go over test strategies. Alright, so the first one, this is going to be the same as the test. Same order, same type of questions, just different numbers. Alright, so number 1, I simply just ask for a root of something. So all you need to know is the answer. So if you have your notes, you can easily look and know that 4 through to 256 is 4. Which is not on here, right? So that would be V. So that one, just look on your notes, get a number, and that's your answer. All right, 2, simplify. Okay, so we gotta know what the radical is, or I'm sorry, the index of the radical. So the index, if there's not one, it's 2. If there is one, it's either 3 or 4. So all you're really doing here is you're going to divide each of these exponents by the index. So like the first one, I would do 7 divided by 2. Okay, well, if I do 7 divided by 2, 2 goes into 7 3 times, right? And I have 1 left over. That tells me that I have 3 that come outside and 1 that stays inside. Alright, let's do 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6, and I get nothing left over, right? That means for K, I'm going to have 6 that come out. And last one, 18. So I'll go down here. So 18 divided by 2 is 9. So that means for L, I'll have 9 come out. So if I look at what I wrote down, I want to get J to the 3rd, K to the 6th, L to the 9th, and then square root of J. So I like to do process of elimination. First thing I notice is I only have one letter under the square root, and it's J. That means these right here are automatically wrong. This one's okay. So then I check the numbers outside. I should have 3 J's, 6 K's, and 9 L's. I have 3 J's, 6 K's, 9 L's. That is my answer. And that's how I would do that one. Alright, 3. This one's easy because we have exponent, index, and our term, whatever it is. So I just want to do index, and then parentheses, always parentheses, and then exponent, right? So my index is 9, parentheses, negative 2J, and my exponent is still 14. That's what I want to look for. So when I look for that, whoa, stop moving. So index is 9. Okay, these two are wrong. Exponent is 14. Those are right, but I need parentheses, which makes C wrong. So my answer would be S. Alright, 4. Now I'm going backwards. I have E or exponent, index, and then my term. So I would write my term in parentheses, exponent over index. So 13K in parentheses, and then 17 over 25. I simply look for that one. So I need parentheses. Okay, these are out. 17's on top, that one's wrong, so my answer is Y. Inverse. Okay, I know there's some pi's and i's and square roots and e's and all that stuff in here. That's okay. That's simply just for practice. Alright, so for inverse, I'm just going to simply take these numbers and switch places, right? So I'm just going to look at the first one to start. My first one would be negative 2 pi and then 45. That's the order I should have it in. So eliminate the ones that are wrong. Look at K. It's not negative 2 pi. I don't change the sign, I just change the place. That one's okay, that one's not, that one's okay. Alright, so because I have 2 left, I keep going. Okay, my next one is, I switch these around, right? So I should have E square root of 3. Okay, E square root of 3, E, okay, that doesn't help me. Next one, I should have 1/3 and negative 71. 1/3 negative 71, and look at that one. That's 3, that's wrong. Alright, so my answer is P. Okay, maybe on the real test you don't have to go as far, but you just gotta check. I would just do one at a time and cross all the ones off that are wrong. That gives you less to look at. Alright, this one. First thing, this negative makes it reflect, so I have to have a reflect. Oh, look at that, they all have reflect. Except it has to be over x-axis, right? We don't ever reflect over y, so F is wrong. Okay, it's a fraction. If it's a fraction, that means I automatically, wow, that's terrible, automatically compress, and you only compress by the number on bottom, not by the whole thing, right? Because I'm only dividing by 4, I'm not dividing by 1/4. That's a totally different thing. So only the number that's on bottom is the one that you compress by. So compress, 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 4, 4, oh, that's wrong. So L's out. Alright, next thing, I add 15. Remember H flips, so I actually go left 15. Okay, so I only have 2 left, right? So that's right, that's left, that one's wrong, so my answer is Q. Again, do one thing at a time, cross things out that are wrong. Alright, domain and range. Okay, let's see. My domain is always my H, my range is my K. And that's true for square root functions. Remember, if it's a cube root, if there's a little 3 right here for your index, it's just all real numbers. Alright, so my domain is x and negative 15. My range is y and negative 35. Now, that's before I do anything, right? I don't have the greater than or less than. So, just based on that alone, 15 is wrong. It has to be negative. Alright? Now, if I'm thinking of a square root graph, square root, my x is always positive, which means this has to be greater than or equal to. That's another thing I keep seeing people miss. It's always underlined for these. Always. Okay, so I have, see how that's less than, that's greater than? This one's wrong. And the only last thing that I have to check, just in case it's none of these, this negative means that I am less than, not greater than. That one's right, so my answer is M. Again, if you have that chart that I posted on the, it's called the cheat sheet, or graphing cheat sheet, I can't remember what I called it, then that'll help you. That chart will give you all the stuff you can make sure the signs are correct. But they have to be underlined. Alright, last thing, number 8. I don't know why I said last, it's not, it's number 8, it's halfway through. Alright, endpoint, turning point. Okay, because my index is 3, I know it's a turning point, so my endpoints are wrong. And whether it's an endpoint or a turning point, it's always HK, except H still flips, like always. So I should have negative 15, negative 35. That one's positive, so it is S. In behavior. Okay. So remember, I have 2 ways I can do this. If I'm positive, which I'm not, I'm negative. So if we're going off the notes here, negative means that as I go, well, first off, I have H and K to start, okay? I have to have HK. My second one, though, is going to be positive, but because I'm negative, my last one becomes negative. If it were a positive square root, it'd be positive, positive on the bottom, but it's not. So look, before I do anything else, I'm going to make sure that my last 2 are positive infinity and negative infinity. That one is not. That one is not. These 2 are okay. So now I just got to check HK. Well, we already know that HK is negative 15 and negative 35. Okay, that's negative 15, that's not. So O is out, T is my answer. Okay, number 10, increasing, decreasing. First thing I would look at is positive or negative. Because that's negative, that means I cannot ever increase. So these are wrong right away. Okay, because my index is a cube, that means I increase forever. Or I mean decrease, sorry, but it's infinities if it's cube. That's the one I want, so it's K. That one would actually, P would be right if it was a square root. Square root, I do H to infinity, cube root, I do negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay, those are my only two options. Alright, so look at that. It's only 10 minutes and I did 10 questions. So if you know what you're doing, this test really doesn't take very long. Okay, on here, solve the equation. So I gotta solve for my parentheses, right? So the first thing I want to do, that I have to do, is subtract 38. So if you have a number on the end, you have to move that first. So if it's plus, you subtract. If it's minus, you add. Normal stuff here. Okay, so I have 30 equals 6. So 120x minus 95. Alright, now last thing before I can do, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot the exponent. 1/4. Alright, so before I can get rid of the exponent, I have to divide by 6. So you get 5 equals 120x minus 95. Now, whatever my exponent is here, 1/4, I do the opposite on the other side. So 1/4, if I flip it, it's just 4. So if it was a 4 or a 3 or a 2, it'd be 1 over that number. So like 3 would be 1/3, 2 is 1/2, and so on. So if it's a fraction, I just flip it and it becomes a whole number. That gets rid of my exponent. So 5 to the 4th is 625. Now I can drop the parentheses. Okay. Now I just do two things. I gotta solve for x. So I gotta add 95. Okay, that gives me, let's see, 10, 12, 720 equals 120x. So I will bring that over here just because I ran out of room. Now, I divide by 120. Of course, on the test, the numbers are not this big, I promise. So I get rid of the zeros. 12 goes into 72 6 times, and that is my answer. Okay. So move the number here, divide, take my exponent and flip it, and then solve for x like normal. That's it on that question. All right, here. Notice my index for both are different. Okay. So it'll let me write here. I'm going to go ahead and write all these as a fraction first. And of course, because I'm dividing, I'm going to be subtracting my exponents here in a minute. So you got to think of what number could I multiply these denominators, the bottom, by to be the same. Okay, so 3 and 4, I can make them both 12. So I'd multiply the top one, 4/4. I'd multiply the bottom one, 3/3. And remember, I'm only multiplying the exponents. The letters don't really change yet. So I would have j, and then you do 10 times 4 is 40/12. Then you do k, 9 times 4 is 36/12. Again, on the test, they're not this big as far as like 40, 36. Okay, 8 times 4 is 32/12. Alright, bottom. Now I multiply by 3. So 5 times 3 is 15/12. K, 6 times 3 is 18/12. And then 7 times 3 is 21/12. Alright, so now they're all the same denominator. I can subtract. I subtract my top exponents from my, or I do the top minus the bottom. I don't want to say that incorrectly. Alright, so if I subtract my j, right, 40 minus 15 is 25. 36 minus 18 is 18. And then 32 minus 21 is what, 9? Alright, so now I just got to convert these, okay? So this is kind of like what we did earlier in the test, is when we divide the numbers. So, well, I'll just do it right here. Okay, so I have 25 divided by 12. 12 goes into 25 twice. That gives me 1 left over. So that means for j, I would end up with 2 j's outside and then 1 j inside. Okay. K, I do 18 divided by 12. 12 goes into 18 one time, that's 12, and that gives me 6 left over. So I have 1k that comes out and 6k's that stay in, because that's my remainder. Alright, last thing, I do 9 divided by 12. Just goes into it no times at all. So my remainder is just 9, right? Oh, I don't know what I did. Remainder. So because I can't reduce that, I don't have any L's come out, and all of them stay in. So you can leave your answer like that if you want to and just put these little multiplies in there. That's fine. Or I can write them all together. The way I would do that is I would put all my outside letters together, then all my inside letters together. So outside I have j squared, oh wow, j squared k, so let me go over here. So I have j squared k, and then everything else is inside, and my index is 12. So I have 12, and then, so I have j, k6, L to the 9th, so j, k to the 6th, L to the 9th. That would be how I'd want to write it, but again, the other way is totally fine as well. Alright, inverse. Remember, the first thing you do is you write x equals, and then instead of x over here, you put y. And now I want to solve for y. So just like the one we did on 11, first thing I want to do is move this 17 because I don't want it here. Gotta get rid of that. So it just stays x minus 17 because I can't do anything else. Now I don't want that 81, so I divide. Okay, so I have x minus 17 over 81 equals y minus 14. Okay, so now I'm at my exponent, right? So remember, whatever my exponent is, I flip it to the other side. So because it's an exponent of 4, I would do 1/4, which is the 4th root. Alright? So let me go up here and write that, just to have some room. So I have 4th root of x minus 17 over 81 equals y, I don't remember what it was, minus 14. Alright. Okay, now, I can't take the 4th root of x or 17, but I can do it of 81, right? 4th root of 81 is 3, so I'm just going to take it out front. Oh, not 14, sorry. Alright, now I'm pretty sure on the test though, like you don't have a number like that, so don't worry about that step necessarily for the test, but again, once I'm here, I take my 4th root, or if it's 3 or 2, you do cube root, square root, whatever the root is. And my last step would be to move this 14. Now, I keep seeing this mistake. I cannot change the number inside the cube root. So if I add or subtract, I would write the same root, right? And then outside, I can put that number. I cannot put them inside. I keep seeing people do that. You cannot do that. So it just stays out, and that would be my final answer. Alright, 2 more. Ooh, this one's easy. So, simplify. My index is 3, so I want groups of 3. So I'm just going to start dividing. So I do 2, and let's see, that'd be 512. I can divide that also by 2, and ooh, I don't know that one. So let's just do that real quick. Oh, I see what it is now. 256. Okay, I can do that. That would be, I can do 4. So 4 goes there 6 times, 24. That'd be 64. So now we're getting some numbers we can work with. So 4 and 4 is 2 and 2. 64 is 8 and 8. Then that becomes 4 and 2, which is 2 and 2. That also, same thing. Okay, so here's what I do. I'm going to cross off all the numbers that I split up because I don't want to accidentally use those. I mean, you don't have to cross them off if you don't want to. So again, I'm looking for groups of 3. If my index was 2, it would be groups of 2. If my index was 4, groups of 4, and so on. All right, so groups of 3. That's what I need. So I have 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And that leaves me with this one right here. All right, so for every group that I have a group of 2, so I write a 2. I have another group of 2, so I write times 2. I have another group of 2, so I write times 2 again. So for every group that you have, you write one of those numbers. So if I had a group of 4, I would write a 4, whatever I have, right? Anything left over. So I have this 2 that's just by itself. It's not in a group. It stays in the root. Now I have to just multiply. I have 2 times 2 times 2, right? 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. And that would be my answer. And last thing, okay, I want HK. The H flips, right? So negative 7, 5. That is my starting point. So negative 7 to 5 is up here. And it's either a square root or a cube root, right? It's a cube root, and it's positive. So if you remember, positive cube roots go kind of like this. If it were negative, it'd just be going this way. Positive square roots start at my point and go up to the right. Negative square roots start at my point and go down to the right. So those are only 4 shapes I should have. Nothing is a straight line. Nothing's a U, none of that stuff. All right, so I'm a positive cube root, so I want to have this shape. So from here, remember, we'll go back. I go up 1 over 1, up 2 over 8, maybe way up here, and then I go down 1, left 1, and I can't do the other one. So I just go like this. That's my graph, and I'm done. So showing all my work and explaining every question took me 22 minutes. But of course, I've had a lot of practice. So if you've not been practicing, this might take you longer. And you only have an hour on the test. So hopefully some of the strategies that I showed you or some of the ways that I do these quicker, if you understand them, great. If not, you should have been practicing by now, but I would definitely go practice some. The review has some more questions. I can only put so much on a practice test. But pretty much this is what the test looks like. This is the order of the questions. The only thing that changes are the numbers, pretty much. And you just got to pay attention to the index, and then pay attention to positive and negative. And pay attention to the little things. I make very minor differences to make something right or wrong. So just be very careful.